All right, guys, welcome to Chilling with c.bo. I am c.bo, your host, and I am here as my co-host, the one and only. How you doing, Juan?
Pretty good, pretty good. Just had a huge mountain of work that I just finished up, and now I'm finally like relaxing that I get a chance to do this today. Talk about the movie that we saw and a bunch of other stuff that we have to talk about today.
Yes. We are missing some two guests. They were busy today, but it's all good because this is what the old show used to be like, just me and you.
Shout out to Pedro and Jack. May they
Yeah.
be well in what they're up to, and we'll see them again next show.
Yeah, hopefully, man. Hopefully. So I guess we're gonna get straight to it. So for last week, we planned on seeing this Swedish movie called Border, which is a I don't even know how to describe it, to be honest. So I was talking to Jack about it for a little bit, and here's how I described it. It's like let's see. What did I say? What it was like? Okay, it's like the movie Onward, that Netflix movie Bright,
Yeah.
with David Fincher, and like what else? All into one. And it also what's another like movie that mixes like fairy tale stuff with like real life?
On the spell.
Yeah, a little bit like that too. It kind of reminded me of that, but obviously it was darker than that. But like, yeah. Okay, so this movie was about a lady who has this genetic like deformities, and we find out later that she's a troll, and there's another troll that comes into her life, and they start connecting, and weird things start happening. So I guess I'll ask you first, Juan.
Yeah.
What did you think of Border?
I thought it was a really beautiful movie. Not gonna lie. Very well shot, very well done. Great storytelling with an inclusion of Viking mythos and modern day like infusions. It's very relatable story with like feeling like an outsider, not being able to like relate to a lot of people or people treating you differently because of how you look, because often in this world like you know people are like judged simply by like how like their face, the clothes that they wear, how much facial hair they have. Like this movie was about like trying to see past all the physical features and looking for the person within, and I really appreciated that. um it was a freaky movie. It was a psycho thriller, as Pedro was telling me, and like it just blew my mind, like where it went. Because
Yeah,
it starts off. I'm not. I don't want to spoil it too much. We spoil too many things on the Channel with c.bo show here. So
yeah,
like I just don't want to like. It went somewhere that you didn't think it was gonna go. Like
yeah,
and and it revealed parts of mythos I didn't even like realize, and every year like the fairy tales that I grew up loving become darker and darker as they come along. So that's basically how this movie is for me. It's kind of like fairy tales rated R basically.
yeah. Oh, and it also kind of reminded me of Guillermo del Toro, how he like makes his twisted versions of fantasies and fairy tales.
Did you ever see the Guillermo del Toro movie Pan's Labyrinth?
Yes, I have.
That's basically what it made me think of.
Yeah, it definitely has that same tone, definitely. So for me, like, I feel like half the time I was like, what the hell am I watching? But by the end of it, I'd say the second half of the movie is definitely better than the first half of the movie, because the first half I'm like, where is this going? Who is this lady? What am I doing here watching this? But then, like, when, as the other troll came in, and, like I said, when I first started the show, when weird things started happening, I'm like, okay, this is starting to make sense now. All right. So by the end, I was like, I really liked this ambitious vision these filmmakers had, and you know, the movie did take a lot of risks, and I did appreciate that. And it's like you said, a weird mix of real life themes mixed in with fairy tale themes that I just wouldn't really expect out of them. Just wasn't really expecting, to be honest. And yeah, I told Jack, I'm like, I don't even know how to rate this movie, because I'm like, half the time I'm like, huh, and I'm half the time like, wait, what? So yeah, it was definitely a unique experience. Definitely a very, very unique experience that I appreciated having, and I don't regret watching.
Pedro brought up a good point where he said, often with with these types of movies, you forget that these people have real lives
Yeah,
and actual a normality prior to the events that took place. And I had completely forgotten that she was a border cross agent when she
yeah,
when
customs agent, yeah.
found out who she was. And like you know I appreciated that the film knew what it was doing with regards to mixing real life with a fantasy world.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that it kept us grounded in reality while also while giving us the sense of belief that this type of thing can actually happen.
Yeah, what if there's trolls, living in your neighborhood,
Oh man, since we already kind of revealed the mini spoiler, I want to talk about the ending with the at the graveyard behind the hospital. Like,
Okay, so we'll do a little spoiler warning. All right, spoiler guys, sorry. Okay, so
so basically, it's excuse me, it's basically you know, it kind of had hints of mass extinction with regards, because we know how in human history, if something's different, we're scared of it, so we try to get rid of it.
yeah,
Yeah, it kind of brought back that thing, just we're kind of living in an era of division and fear of the unknown. Like,
yeah,
and seeing a person who is judged and harassed just because of how she looks and where she comes from. Just an incredible way to symbolize prejudice and inequality.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I definitely got those themes as well, but like at the same time, like we're talking spoilers, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so like at the same time, when you saw what Vor was doing, you're like, two wrongs don't make a right, my friend. Like with what he was involved with, and I'm like, yeah, humans, we suck, but come on, dude, look at yourself, man.
I had to ask, what did you think they were? So, you know how when they found that video camera in the trophy case of the house of the people that they broke into, that the police broke into,
Yes, yes,
and Peter and I were debating what did they do with that camera. You know, we were kind of just thinking it smelled like the camera smelled.
yeah.
They hinted at that, and I just got to thinking, what did they do with the camera?
I don't know, but it was probably something we don't want to think about.
Something that's too mature for this podcast.
Yeah,
But overall, this movie was a great change of pace from what we've been doing. We
yeah,
traveled,
definitely.
and I have to say, I don't think we give foreign films enough credit, man. Like,
No, no, I agree.
we a lot of modern day moviegoers tend to think that American films are the best films because they're the ones we can relate to the most and the ones that we can stand. But
Yeah.
foreign films are honestly just as, if not much more, thought invoking and just as provocative as any other film Hollywood can spew out.
Oh, absolutely, because they work more with less, because Hollywood movies are spoiled by the major studio budget, while, well, I want to say all Hollywood movies, because, there's American indies out there that break boundaries, but I'm just saying, like, like foreign movies, they don't got just $100 million to spare on every movie they make, when they gotta work less with more, work more with less. That's what I'm saying, yeah. And that's what this movie was, the makeup in this movie was absolutely phenomenal. And I'm sure, like when they were coming into this movie, it's like, all right, we can't really flashy, but if there's one thing we have to do well with, it's the makeup, and you can tell they worked really hard on that and everything.
Yeah, seeing the actress that plays Tina in real life, gorgeous woman, phenomenal,
Really? I haven't looked her up.
gorgeous woman, and the job that they did on her was, that deserves an Oscar in and of itself.
It did get nominated for the makeup. It did.
It should have, and
Yeah.
it should have won, in my opinion.
What won that year? I'm gonna look that up.
It was 2018, so we'll look that up later.
Okay.
But thinking about this, like it makes me think of like how many foreign films have we seen in our lives? Like I've seen films in Spanish and German and Swedish and even like
Yeah. Speaking of that, you were in Germany for a long time, right? For
yes,
like a year, right?
yes.
So how many German movies did you watch? Like German foreign movies?
If I can only count like on one hand, it's like four movies.
Okay.
One was like a high school comedy. Another one was a drug drama, and two were historical films based on World War II.
Okay. And what were your thoughts on those, if you can remember?
Um, German's sense of humor is pretty like pretty intricate. It's
Okay.
like it doesn't rely on toilet humor as much as American comedy does.
Yeah.
It relies more on storytelling and clever wordplay, but only German clever wordplay, you know?
Yeah.
But that's what makes it so interesting. Like it's like every joke is fresh and unique, and there's no recycled material. I really appreciated that in their comedy movies. Their
Hmm.
historical movies, by God, my man, like they are brutally honest in their past.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard the movie Das Boot?
Das Boot?
Yes,
Like, no, I haven't heard it.
it's about oh wait, hold on. I'm thinking about the wrong movie. Das Boot's a historical drama about a submarine in Germany. Let me just look up the other movie I was thinking about. Uh, okay, yeah, no, the movie I'm actually thinking about is called in English. It's called Downfall, but in German it's Der Untergang. Which
I know exactly what you're talking about because the meme. It's because the meme.
yeah, so the movie about the downfall of Hitler and
Yeah.
in Berlin. I actually saw the full thing, and
Oh no,
dude,
I actually hear it's really good. Yeah.
it's like you know how like shows have box episodes where like they only film in one location.
Yeah.
This was basically like this was like a box episode movie where like they only focused on what was going on within the bunker,
Yeah.
and you know the way that they painted what was going on the outside about the war. They didn't really provide much visuals, if at all. Tremendous job in the acting and in the writing, and just being able to just story tell through what Hitler was going through.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying with German movies. Like they do a great job in historical movies of addressing and being honest of what happened in their life. They're not afraid to shy away from their Nazi past. They bring it up and they show the world, yes, we did this and we're ashamed and we learned from it and we're moving on.
Yeah.
In movies like these, like do a great job of showing that.
Okay. Yeah. The reason I laugh because of the down. You've seen the downfall me on YouTube. So speaking of that, it's to our listeners who don't know what that is, and this is like a mid 2000s YouTube. It's like basically they took a scene of Hitler just going on a anger tirade, and people just put whatever they want in the subtitles, making it talk about all these random subjects like Hitler's mad about Marvel trailers or something like. But obviously it's funny because we're English speakers and we don't know what he's saying, and we just see the subtitles and think he's saying exactly that. But yeah. But
Like
like when you saw the movie and you realized what was going on, you're like, was that your first thought?
I actually I didn't become aware of the meme until after I got back from Germany. Funny
Oh, okay.
enough. So I was like, oh wait, I saw this movie. Oh, this makes sense now.
No, but that does sound like a very interesting movie. And that would probably be on my radar if it ever shows up on a streaming service. 'Cause I do love World War II movies.
It's called, for listeners who want to know, it's called Downfall.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. But foreign movies overall, like if I had to pick a favorite foreign movie, I'd have to say Pan's Labyrinth. Yeah,
Okay.
Pan's Labyrinth because it it emotionally scarred me with regards to like love and growing up in fairy tales. It basically kind of broke down the fact that like not every fairy tale ends with a happy end. You know?
Yeah.
That
I
makes
gotta see that movie again. I saw it like once years ago, so I gotta see it again. Um, I don't know if this counts, if this is a foreign movie, because a lot of it is in English, but a lot of it isn't in English. And Inglorious Bastards,
is that like a British film technically?
well, like a lot of the movie is multiple languages. It's in English, it's in French, it's in German. Yeah.
I think it's an American film, man.
Yeah, but still, like, I still love it though. Like, even though a lot of the film isn't in English, I think most of the film isn't in English, but still, yeah, it definitely is an American. But I do love that movie. But I guess I'm in your boat as well. I haven't seen too many foreign movies. But one that does come to mind is the one that just won Best Picture, and I did see that movie, and that was Parasite. Did you see Parasite?
I did not know.
It's on Hulu.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just
Are
saying.
you trying to shame me into watching Parasite?
I don't know. Maybe that'll be our next movie. I don't know.
I don't know about that.
Seriously though, you gotta watch Parasite. The less you know about it, the better. Cause
like you with Downfall, I will take the same approach with Parasite.
Parasite's like more mainstream though. Like even America. Yeah.
Stop forcing me into watching Academy acclaimed movies.
No, but in all honesty,
Yeah.
I definitely recommend Parasite. It's a
No, yeah,
good movie.
it's on my radar. It's just like with these kind of movies, they're just so long. I really don't have the time.
Parasite's not that long. No,
Whatever.
it's on your radar.
But it's on my radar. I'll let you know when I see it if I
Okay.
ever get a chance to do so.
Trust me, you'll like it. You'll like it.
In the meantime, we should pick a movie to watch this week.
Yes. Who? I have no idea. Like, cause like, oh, we should talk about what Jack and Pedro. Um, First off, Jack was affected by the tropical storm that hit. Tropical storm, Isaias, Isaias.
They call it Isais. I call it Isaiah.
Okay, Isaiah. Okay, so yeah, Jack actually lost his power. Did not have the chance to finish the movie, but he did say that he dug the overall practical effects and everything, and the tone. And Pedro, what did he think of it?
Pedro said, and I'll quote here, that he loved how it was like a representation of when men meddles with nature and how nature can turn against them and make them into monsters with the whole child sex trafficking thing that they had in it. And he
Yeah,
how
that's good. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
also loves how Tina had this degeneration of her identity from civil to feral. Like Boar took all her humanity and made her into a troll, feeding the bug to her baby as the final step in her transformation.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, good thoughts from our
It,
uh partners of the Chilling with c.bo.
I think it's fair to say that Pedro might be the most insightful of us
Yeah.
all.
I mean, he's the aspiring English teacher, right?
Yeah, he is, and like it's kind of awesome to like watch like these kind of works on like a whole another spectrum, and it's kind of making me think like, damn, I gotta catch up to his level, bro. Like, I need
Yeah,
to get,
definitely.
like I'm in media and I'm not even that deep.
Yeah, sometimes I can be pretty stupid when I watch movies and things just fly over me.
I mean, I guess like one like image, like one thought that came to my head when I was watching, like, you know, trolls are like seahorses, because the men get pregnant and the women have the the penis, you know.
Yeah, speaking of that, oh my God, remember that scene? Oh wow, I was not expecting that,
No one was expecting that, brother. Ugh.
and my mouth was wide open. I'm like, wow, they went for it. I respect it, but wow, they went for it.
Ugh.
But I respect, like, good for you filmmakers, like, because you guys are this whole movie was just a risk, and yeah, and it paid off. I believe.
It's not in these kind of movies. Sometimes they don't pay off because like it's either too weird, like the Human Centipede.
Yeah, you
But
seen that?
I've seen clips.
Okay.
But overall, they did a great job, and I can't commend them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Definitely.
we should choose now like the next movie to watch. Like
Yes.
what's out there for us?
Hmm. What's a trendy? Well, speaking of something that, well, did you hear that Mulan is coming to Disney Plus, but you gotta pay a $30 premium for it?
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
That is so. That's such crap, bro. And you know what sucks? Parents are actually gonna buy that movie just to watch it with their kids because the overall family value would actually justify the payment. You know?
I mean, it's as much as it sucks that you have to pay an additional price on top of a subscription you already pay. It's like I feel like it just goes to show you that, I think we're just spoiled with Netflix because no matter how much money Netflix spends on a movie, they're not going to charge a premium just to access it. But like Disney's movies, whether you like it or not, are very expensive to make, and usually they are used to seeing a global theatrical profit when it comes to releasing their movies, even the bad ones like Artemis Fowl. So it's like so it's like Mulan was expected to be at least successful and make like probably like close to like the billion range in worldwide. You can't make that if it's just simply just putting it on Netflix, not Netflix, just Disney Plus with no premium. So yeah, it just goes to show you that not all movies are made the same and are expected to, like have the same expectations, when they because like movies are expensive, and you gotta see a return. In my opinion, I think Disney should have waited because like why are you gonna release such an expensive movie onto a streaming service? Like, oh look, I can understand Artemis Fowl. That movie was not gonna be successful, but and the movie probably is more successful because it's on Disney Plus. Um, Stuff like Hamilton, that thing wasn't supposed to come out till 2021, but Broadway theaters are closed. So it's like Disney did something good for us, for the consumer. They're like, all right, here you go, watch Hamilton at home while theaters are closed. But now it's just like that's just weird to me, man. Like at that point, if you're gonna drop Mulan, I think we should. I think they should just drop Black Widow. See, I would pay for Black Widow.
I would too, not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
Like that's actually like worth watching though. Like Mulan doesn't really seem worth watching.
I would have seen it if it came out to theaters. If it was like the first month of coming out to theaters, and like if it was just Tenet and Mulan, I would have seen Mulan after I saw Tenet because I had nothing else to do.
A movie ticket per person costs around what, $15 now?
Depends on where you go. Where I'm at, it's about $11.
So
But I usually go on I like going on matinees, or like I have an AMC Stubs like account, and I get like $5 Tuesdays.
yeah, so do I. That's what
Yeah.
like movie ticket prices are cheaper than actually buying this and watching it on Disney. You know,
Yeah, but it's per household, you know what I'm saying? There's multiple people that live in a household
right?
most times.
Right, but I'm saying like sometimes it's just gonna be like the one person like yourself who will want to watch it, and a $30 price for it isn't really worth it.
Well, luckily, my one of my brother, me and my family share one Disney Plus account, so me and my brother and his girlfriend are gonna pay for Mulan. So and apparently, if you buy it, it sticks to your account. So it's like, all right,
Own it. Okay, I see.
okay. So it's like, all right, I guess I'll see Mulan then, because I want to see a new movie.
Okay, all right,
Yeah,
that's fair.
yeah.
Not really something I'd do personally, but I'm not gonna. But that's just me.
But well, that's just my brother and his girlfriend.
Like like with movies, like let me ask you something. Like what's a movie that you said like you mentioned like what was it? You mentioned Black Widow. That's one movie that you'd actually consider like justifiably paying the $30.
Well, yeah, because I'm a Marvel fan. I want to see I want to see the movie. Yeah, of course.
But like
But I feel like Disney's not going to put a Marvel movie on Disney Plus just because of the Marvel brand still has power in theaters, and they wouldn't just want to throw that out there in a streaming service.
I just think Disney's taking advantage of a bad situation for everyone.
I mean, think of it as this, like the mom and dad pays, and like the uncle pays for so little Timmy and little Jesse can watch the movie.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. I'm right now looking for like the next movie for us to watch. But like,
Yes. All right. Not. I'm not gonna interruptions. All right. I'm gonna look at Netflix now.
I found one that looks pretty interesting. It's kind of funny. It has Colin Farrell in it.
Which one is it?
It's called Lobster Man.
The Lobster?
Lobster Man. Oh yeah, The Lobster.
Where's that?
It's on Netflix in critically acclaimed films.
Huh. Okay.
It's about like in a world where where like single people are brought to a resort, are forced to find someone to like be with, and if they don't do it within 45 days, they're turned into animals and sent into the wild.
Yes, I've heard about this. And I was kind of interested. I remember a couple of years ago, a lot of like film like nerds were raving about it. Ah, it's an option. All right. You know, it's funny because there's also another Colin Farrell movie with the same director called Killing of a Sacred Deer. That's also another little indie thing that film nerds loved a couple of years ago.
I'm also open to like just watching like a bad movie like we did with Artemis Fowl.
Okay, I would be open to that too, but it has to be like a fun bad movie where you're gonna be like, this sucks.
Well,
Not boring. Oh my God, this is really an hour and a half at Artemis Fowl type of movie.
yeah. I'm looking through right now. So I guess like the last Airbender's off the table.
Oof. I would have loved to trash on that movie because now that I've seen the show and I can just be like, nope. Because I saw the movie like 10 years ago actually when it came out, and I'm like, oh, this is bad, and I just forgot about it. But now that I've seen the show and know the context of everything, I'm like, I can just like, wow, who that you know what? That's another option.
Or what about Bright with Bruce with Will Smith?
I've seen that already. That's okay. Like, it was fun.
Right. Trying to see what else we got here.
We should also like do a show like a one season show if we could.
I don't think any of us have the time for like a one season show, like a miniseries. I don't think we have the time for that.
Like a 6 episode, like 6 to 8 episode show, like for one season.
What do you have in mind?
I don't know, but like that could definitely be on the docket soon, you know?
All right, you want to watch a bad movie that's like that's fun to watch? I'd
Yeah.
say Starsky and Hutch with Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson.
You seen that movie?
When I was younger, yeah, like really young.
Okay, that's another op. So it's between Starsky and Hutch, The Last Airbender, and The Lobster.
And yeah,
What else? So we could look for more options.
I'm gonna put in the chat and see what the guys vote for. So the Lobster, Sandbender, Starsky and Hutch. Like I just want to watch a bad movie. You know, like I'm in the mood for like a bad movie. You know,
Okay. All right, that's fair.
so what do you think we should watch?
All right.
Speed and motion. Like I can give like kind of like a breakdown of each one. Like for Last Airbender, it's supposed to be disappointing with bad acting on the level of Artemis Fowl.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if I can handle another Artemis Fowl at the moment.
So let's take that off then. Let's take Airbender off then. We're left with Lobster and Starsky and Hutch.
I could. Start. Okay. How long is the lobster?
I'm checking right now.
All right, it's an hour and 58 minutes. All right, I can deal with that. All right.
And Starsky is
That's an hour.
An hour.
Okay. So you know what? I've never seen Starsky and Hutch.
All right. So I'll put it in the chat.
So, all right. Chilling with c.bo has officially decided to watch Starsky and Hutch for next podcast.
A buddy cop movie with two of the greatest mid 2000 comedians.
It's Ben Stiller and who else?
Owen Wilson.
Oh wow, that's a good duo.
Yeah, so like you'd be like, it's a bad movie, but great.
It's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I kind of want to see.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Featuring also Vince Vaughn.
Oh, I love Vince Vaughn.
Oh,
that's my guy. Yeah.
So like, official everyone on the Chilling with c.bo show, Starsky and Hutch for this week's movie.
All right. I can't wait. Yeah. Cool.
Oh.
All right. So, I guess our next topic is one of our favorite rappers recently released his final album, allegedly, called No Pressure. And Juan, you become sort of a Logic aficionado over the past couple of years now. So did you get a chance to listen to No Pressure?
I did get a chance. And first off, before you call me an aficionado, let me be the one to remind you that you were the one that got me into Logic during the original Chilling with c.bo show days.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I'm like, how you not listening to Logic? It's like the Rick and Morty skit. It's like, you not fucking with Logic, yo.
Yeah, like, so yeah, I did listen. Yeah, like over the years, like I've gotten really into Logic so much so I actually bought his merch. I bought that incredible true story NASA sweater that he was selling for I think $60.
Okay.
And I had it for like 2 years before I just gave it to Goodwill.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, yeah. So you were saying about his new album?
Yes. What did you think of No Pressure?
Listening to Logic, I've always had kind of the impression that he's just this like he's a great technical rapper who knows how to spit fire and spit rhythm and enunciate well when he's rapping. And when he first started out, he was really meaningful and he had like a lot of good things to say and express about being someone who was biracial that didn't belong anywhere and being someone who felt like he wanted to fit into the world, but no one really wanted to give him a chance to do so. And then he finally broke out, and he came out with a couple of other albums after The Incredible True Story that didn't really do that well. And you could kind of tell like the content changed and the style changed in a way that was kind of like, this isn't Logic. This is someone trying to be Logic, but it's just horrible,
Okay.
That's how it's bad when I can't remember the name of the two albums that did poorly. I know the first one was Everybody.
Well, Everybody was like, that was his first like big mainstream album. I feel like.
Yeah, and it didn't really do that well.
It had the song 1-800, which it was an important song at the time.
Yeah, it was, but that's like the one song that actually like benefited coming out of there. Everything else was just kind of like.
Okay.
Bobby Tarantino too, but that was the second album that came out that I'm talking about. Like that was supposed to be like a sequel to one of his original albums that came out.
Yeah, could you say that again? Because like you kind of like fizzed out and then
Bobby Tarantino 2 album that came out in 2018, I believe.
Yeah.
And that was just terrible. I know what he was trying to do there. He's trying to become like gritty and badass in that album, and also kind of like, I'm like the shit. It's just like, yeah. And then No Pressure comes out, 2020, and he says it's his final album. And personally, like it kind of feels like a final album. He's like it's kind of like letting his hair down, returning back to the Logic roots, the Rat Pack roots, where like he's just stopped with the crazy tricks and the clever wordplay and stuff. He's just rapping how he feels.
Yeah.
And while it does feel that way, the message is kind of repetitive. It's like if you listen closely to all the songs on No Pressure, or most of them anyways, he's saying the same thing over and over and over again. That he's successful, that he made it, that he's he's glad that he made it, that he's got family and a son, and he loves his new wife and all this. And it's just like it's the same message over and over again. It's just set in a different beat and a different style. So there was nothing new to say that he didn't already mention in past albums and past music, you know? In fact, I can honestly say the only song I liked from No Pressure was the song called Dad Bod, where you can finally see Logic just having enough of people criticizing him for not releasing like like back in the day style music. And it was also pretty funny too. It's like, you want me to rap about my day to day. I wake up, I wake my son up, I go down the street to the Target to check out which trash bags I think can hold the most kind of trash, and people trying to take people trying to get my my autograph and stuff, and I'm just like yeah, I want to hear this. I want to hear you frustrated. I want to hear that you hate the fame. I want to hear that you're retiring to be a dad and to focus on raising your son. That's because I know that's how you really feel. Enough but like, oh my God, I'm so thankful that I made it and I'm famous, I got all this money. I've heard it hundreds and hundreds of times already. Give me something else. And he gave it to me in that one song. The rest of the album was just trash.
Wow, you were really critical, and you know he deserves it. No one's above criticism. You know, I listened to the album twice. I listened to it first time, kind of forgot about it. Then I'm like, all right, I gotta refresh myself for this podcast. It's not a bad album objectively. Like it's really not. It's just like there are some highlights and moments of it that I do like of it, but it's just like it's like you said, he's not really saying anything that really like sticks with me, you know? And like, yeah, he's always been a very creative and very ambitious rapper, and like I feel like sometimes he was a little too creative, a little too ambitious with albums like Everybody. Like he absolutely just went insane with that album, with all the like the storyline and stuff like that. And like Bobby Tarantino 1 and 2, you know, they have some good songs in it that I can just like, you know, just sit back to. But like the stuff I liked with him the most is probably Incredible True Story, and Young Sinatra 4. That was a good album, I feel like.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Those were good. But like, you know, with like I said, the new albums that came out, Bobby Tarantino 2 and Everybody, like you just kind of saw like a decline in style and a departure from what he was, you know.
Well,
Just as like the musical logic changed, the physical and mental logic changed too. You know,
yeah.
like he went from being just like a scrawny kid with a good rap style and kind of nerdy to like this big buff cornball who smokes weed and stuff. You know, like it wasn't just that the music changed; his personality changed too. It's just like this isn't the same artist.
Well, that's the thing. Like when money changes you, man. Like the success changes you. You know, no matter how you put it, you know. Because when he was first starting out, I'm like, oh, this is just a normal guy going through troubles who's a nerd. I could relate to that. But now it's just like, you know, it's like you said, you know, nothing really sticks when he raps nowadays. And it's also the thing of the dude's released so many projects in the last couple of years. I think honestly he's stressed himself way too thin. I think since he released his first album, Under Pressure, he's released an album or two every single year, and it's like, dude, like you can let things sit, and like we could take you having a break, but I feel like I don't know what it was that he just kept working, that his label kept telling him to work. He just wanted to make money. I don't know, but he did not need to release as many albums as he did.
I mean, he did sign a $20 million deal, as he kept highlighting in the song 44 More back in 2018.
But you know, but like he didn't have to release a album and that was like what's that word? Like he wrote a book and he did an album for a book. That is just one of the most extra things I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, the guy hasn't stopped working since he started getting famous, and I felt like that started getting to him as well, and it wasn't just the fame, and it wasn't just the money and the success. I think that was it as well. Like he just never stopped working, and it's like he was probably overworked, overwhelmed, and just I don't blame him for him wanting to take a break and be with his son. Yeah, and that's part of the reason why I think his music has declined a little bit.
To be honest, I kind of wish he takes like a 10-year hiatus, and he comes back in his 40s. He's kind of like this gruffled, experienced guy who, like, has been through, like, growing up with a son and learning what it means to have patience and understanding and being the dad that his father never was. I kind of want to see that logic come back in like 10 years.
Yeah, yeah. So no pressure overall. It's not terrible, but it's like it doesn't
It's
stick.
not terrible, but it's not dirty.
Yeah, it's definitely better than that one album. Yeah, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. Oh man, that was bad.
That was the third album, right?
No, that was the album that came out like last year. I want to say.
More like a mixtape, right?
That's the one that's the one where we had the music video of him like bleeding. Remember that?
Yeah.
That was actually a good song, by the way. But that was like the only good song on that album.
Keanu Reeves wasn't that bad.
And the Eminem song's pretty tight. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and I remember when I was working at Outback, one of my coworkers memorized like that whole song and would rap it over and over again while we were putting it in a restaurant.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but Logic, you were one of the most creative, unique rappers out there, and we hope you have a good life if you stay retired, man.
Yeah, and like be happy, man. Stop worrying about what you came out from, and just worry about who you want to be going forward.
And like, I feel like he did put a lot of pressure on himself as well. He wasn't just under pressure from people around him. I feel like he mentally himself was putting his pressure on himself as well.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I gotta get so many things done, and it's like you did get it done, but like at what cost? Like
didn't you have like a movie you were working on? You released a book that was actually pretty well acclaimed. Like, bro, slow down.
Yeah, it's that expression. You can't bite more than you can chew. You know.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, so let me ask you this: do you think he'll stay retired?
No, like I said, I think he'll come back in like 10 years. And he'll come back with like a new perspective on life after being a player. And he'll just say, and I think it'll provide like new material and like something new to bop to,
Yeah. I wouldn't say 10 years because like Jay-Z said he would retire, but that was only like a couple of years. In fact, Jay-Z takes more breaks now than he did when he claimed to be retired. Isn't that funny?
Right, but that's Hov. H-O-V. You know how he.
Yeah. So like I don't think it's 10 years. I'd say like 3 years probably.
Unless he marries someone on the caliber of Beyonce, I don't think he's ever going to pull like a Jay-Z.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no. No. But as I was saying, like I think he just likes rapping too much. Like that's why he put out so many that's probably one of the reasons why he put out so many records. Is he just loved it. He just likes spitting bars with people who he likes working with.
Right. And like I get that. And you make a good point, but like I said, and it's kind of stays true, he ran out of things to say a long time ago. That was and new. So like, I don't want to hear from him unless he has something new to say.
I feel like Young Sinatra 4 should have been like his last album to retire on, because it brought it back full circle from his original mixtape days, which we would highly recommend to listen to our viewers or listeners. Listen to those mixtapes; those are really good, man.
Agreed.
And like I just love how like in those mixtapes he doesn't have what is that, like he can sample whatever he wants because technically he's not selling them for money. So yeah, like he freaking sampled Adele. That's insane. Like imagine how expensive that would be to like to put his mixtapes on Spotify. He has some crazy samples that would never get cleared. I feel like.
The one that he did with the song "Beggin" was phenomenal.
Yeah, but that's he's sampling Jersey Boys over there. You think Frankie Valli heard that song or?
No. Frankie Valli will ever listen to that kind of music.
Oh man. So Logic, we'll miss you, but we'll be here when you come back eventually.
Yeah.
So I guess our final topic we'll talk about is yesterday from when we're recording, a big tropical storm hit us, and we both live in New Jersey, and we've lived in New Jersey pretty much our whole lives. So it's like, we have an experience with these type of storms. I just want to ask you, what are your thoughts on the storms that come and go throughout New Jersey throughout the years?
My thoughts on the storm. Honestly, I shouldn't be surprised by this amount of weather that we get. The East Coast is probably the most mercurial weather locations in this country, possibly the world. We get the hardest rainfalls. We get the hottest days, the coldest winters. When I was up in Syracuse, especially, the lake effect really took its toll with like really heavy winters and like snow and ice lasting for weeks on end. Here down in New Jersey, hurricanes just kind of come once a year, do their damage and then leave. Like, do you remember when Sandy when Sandy came to town?
Absolutely, yes.
Do you remember what preceded Sandy's arrival?
It was a year before, right?
I meant like the day before Sandy actually showed up.
Wasn't it like a sunny day?
No, it was a snowy day. It was.
I think I remember that. Yes.
It was snowing in late October.
Yeah.
On Halloween, and then when it snowed, the snow cleared up immediately right after because the sun came and melted all the snow. We're just like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
Does that mean Halloween's back up? And we enjoyed it, and then the next day, boom, Sandy came, flooded New York, took out half the Jersey Shore, and
Halloween was canceled.
Yeah.
We were talking about that, I believe, a couple podcasts ago about Halloween possibly being canceled this year, and we're like, we already know what that feels like.
The worst I ever had with hurricane damage was just my lights going out for a couple days. That's the worst I ever had.
Oh boy. Oof. Let me tell you a story. Yep. So the two hurricanes that come to my mind and still haunt me to this day is 2011's Irene and 2012 Sandy. In 2011, that Irene flooded my basement, and that was not a fun time. Everything was a miserable time. My basement was flooded, and and I have a carpeted basement because I live in an apartment complex, and I had no choice in that. So it's like the basement smelled like just wet carpet for like a week. It was not fun. We had to move everything out of the basement, and our house was just a complete pigsty for like a month, just moving our stuff back into the basement. And then Sandy came a year later, and me and my family, we were like, our one hope for Sandy, just don't flood our basement. Please, just don't flood our basement. It didn't flood our basement, and we only lost power for a couple hours. We were like, all right, cool. We got out of this unscathed. No, we didn't, because Sandy knocked down a tree that destroyed my family car. Yeah. That was wow. And ever since then, I'm like, if like a tropical storm's coming, I'm like, oh God, ugh. Please just. But the only good thing about Sandy, which is kind of a terrible thing to say, was I did get a week off of school because of that.
The worst thing I got from Sandy was just power going out and having to play board games in candlelight.
Did you get a week off of school?
No.
Oh man.
But I walked around. After the storm hit, I walked around my town to see how bad the damage was. Crushed cars, trees, like
it was very bad. No, yeah. All the people who were affected, man, our hearts go out to you. Some people are still affected to this day.
Especially like our buddy Jack right now. He lost power where he is, and like that's why he wasn't able to join us today. Because we're wishing that he's doing well and that his power comes back soon.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are my memories of big storms, and it's funny because like I work an overnight shift, so it's like I was asleep for like the worst of the tropical storm, which is I'm like I see like snaps and like stories of people posting like how it was outside yesterday, and I'm like, I didn't see that. I was asleep the whole time.
Like,
How did Richfield how's Richfield doing right now in terms of the storm that just happened?
we're pretty much okay.
Okay.
Like the worst, I went out for a walk after the storm cleared yesterday, and literally just branches. Nothing really severe, just branches.
It's funny because my sister works at Amazon, and like she couldn't go into work today because they lost power, Amazon and Edison. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like, and like some people I see like pictures of some like fallen trees in this town. So like, yeah, I don't know what's good with Edison, but I don't know how we got a lot of damage. You I don't know.
Me neither, bro. What I do know is that like I'm just thankful that like we're all safe, that we're not none of
Yes.
us is hurt or that we lost anyone, and you know that's honestly what you can ask for out of a hurricane, that no one is legitimately hurt.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I think that wraps things up then.
And so
All right.
this has been the Chilling with c.bo podcast.
Yes, it has been. Next week we'll be back and we'll talk about Starsky and Hutch. And oh, before we go, sports have been back. They're in the thick of it now. Everyone's playing baseball, hockey, NBA, and I guess I'll since I'm the more NBA fan, I guess I'll start. The NBA bubble has been really cool. And it's been like, and the games have been really like they've been quality games. Like it seems like the players they've been really inching to come back, and it looks that way. What about you?
I've watched.
Have you seen any of those sports that have come back?
I've seen. I saw a fight break out between I think a Dodgers pitcher and an Astros batter.
Okay.
Yeah, and I saw the the Battle of LA, with the Clippers versus the Lakers.
That was a good game. Ooh.
Like LeBron versus LeBron just like freaking blocked, like playing perfect defense against Paul George and Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, that is pure dominance right there. And if the Lakers win the NBA championship, I don't know if it was rigged. Hashtag rest in peace, Kobe. But it's great, just great performances. And I mentioned this earlier. I said that bubble basketball is a lot better than normal basketball, and you said it's because we have learned to appreciate sports more than we used to. I completely agree. And I'm now just kind of thinking going forward, is this how it's going to be for the rest of our lives?
Bubble sports?
Yeah.
No, I feel eventually the fans are definitely gonna come back. There's a lot, you can't leave that type of money on the table. It's just it just has to be safe again for fans to come back. Especially in an indoor arena. That's the worst thing. Like stadium's fine, you can separate really easily with your respective group of people, but like indoor arenas, everyone's cramped in, and it has to be limited as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just waiting for football to make a decision on what it's going to do. More than 50 players have already opted out.
Wow.
And the deadline for people to not opt out is tomorrow.
Wow.
And I'm just waiting for at least one quarterback to drop out, because honestly, you can imagine a linebacker or a defensive lineman dropping out of the season, and they're just like, that's fine because it's not going to affect the team long term. But a franchise quarterback, can you imagine if someone like Matthew Stafford or Aaron Rodgers or Lamar Jackson opted out? Or Pat Mahomes. Like, can you imagine a franchise quarterback opting out? That would be crazy, bro.
So what's the deadline of them saying there's no season?
They haven't said that. They said there's going to be a season. There's going to be a season. There's going to be a season. The season's going to start in September because we have to cancel the preseason. And I'm just like, so when are you going to put?
Don't you kind of need the preseason so everyone gets loose?
That was the argument, but they didn't listen. And now like there's no preseason, and key players are opting out. I know like the Jets on my end, we lost our one of our top defensive players to an opt out, which is disappointing. But I can't wait for the 2020 season to see how bad the product on the field is going to be because a lot of star players are just gone.
Are there still practice camps going on right now? Right. No.
Sort of. It's a mixed bag. Like some are doing virtual workouts, others are doing like.
Oh no! So a lot of players are gonna be out of shape when September comes.
Basically.
Oof. So that means like the young teams are they're disciplined. They'll probably go far if they maybe Lamar Jackson gets his ring.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't mind if Lamar got a ring. I read this one comment that a friend of mine said that really pissed me off. He went and I quote here. He went and said, I bet that Lamar Jackson will win a ring before Sam Darnold ever wins a playoff game.
Oof.
And he's a Patriots fan, so I'm like, you know what? That's it. I predict that Cam Newton's gonna be traded by week 8. He's like, don't. And then like I predict that 20 Patriots players are gonna opt out before the start of training camp. Like, bro, stop.
Interesting. You think they're gonna trade Cam Newton?
I was just trying to piss him off because he pissed me off.
So I guess the one last thing will be, how do you think Cam Newton's going to do on the Patriots?
I'm predicting a 10-6, 11-5 season. Patriots will have a winning season, but they won't go far in the playoffs because Cam's Cam. He's not Tom Brady. He's not clutch. Cam's never been clutch. He's been dominant, but he's not clutch.
Interesting words.
And I've come to realize something as a Jets fan. When Brady was there in Foxborough, I hated him. And I hated the Patriots. But I didn't know if I hated Brady because of the Patriots or if I hated Brady for Brady. Now that he's with the Bucs, I kind of realized I love Brady. And I'm just like, that makes much more sense.
Because like being part of the Patriots, you kind of have to you can't he's being all open and funny now. Like he wasn't like that in the Patriots.
Exactly.
I guess Belichick and what's the owner's name again for the Patriots?
Robert Kraft.
Yeah, Bob Kraft and Belichick keep you in check, huh?
Especially when you've been the franchise for 20 years and taking significant pay cuts because of it.
Yeah. So, all right. I guess that'll be our final ending. We did a fake out ending, but now this is our true ending. Guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll be back with Starsky and Hutch and any other crazy news that comes out within today and the next time we record.
Later, guys.
Later.
You never see it coming. You'll be dinner and best right. God.